Hi, welcome to my channel. So today I want to talk about, I want to give you an in-depth look at my business as to, how I really scaled my business. That's right. I was looking back and I realized that the very first year that I made money, that's not the first year of business, the very first year that I made money, I actually made $6,485 from my services as a coach, right? So that was my very first year. So now fast forward to this year doing 6 figures a month. I want to walk you back just to look at how we scaled the in-depth. I'm lifting the hood and I'm not holding anything back, and I'm going to be sharing with you exactly some of the steps that we took to be able to get here, because I really build my business on transparency, and if I feel that if this helps even just one person, then it was worth it, right? So let me know if it's very helpful to you. Now, before we even dive in, who am I? If it's your first time jumping into my channel, then hello. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Pam Obasa, the founder of The Lucrative Lady, and on this channel I create content from the heart that's truly geared at helping women to truly up-level their life and their business and their income. Very important to me that women are thriving in this world. It's so important to me. If you are returning on my channel, then thank you so much. I really love you and I really appreciate you. So let's dive in. Enough of the mushy talk. Oh, by the way, before we go, don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. I'm working hard to grow this channel, so that would mean the world to me. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on your bell, and of course give this video a like so that other people can see it. I love you. Thank you so much. So let me dive in. So on this channel, if you look back, you're going to see a couple of videos where I break down our 100K a month strategy, the 100K a month roadmap, all of these things. So make sure you go ahead. I'm going to link them in the description of this video so that you can watch them after this. But today I want to just take a few steps back, because in those videos I sort of talked about where we are right now, but I didn't really go back to how we got to where we are. And so I want to talk about how did we get here, just so that you can see what the journey looks like. That way you can look at where you are and look at where, how I started, and then you can see if you are on the mark or off the mark. It did take some time, and I'm hoping that I can give you the, the steps that you can use and begin to implement from today, essentially. So I actually started out online back in 2017, yes, and I created my very first program, which was at $12.97. so $1,297 was the price of that, and it was in a whole different industry. It was the daycare niche, which I absolutely love. Offline we have, along with my mom as a family, actually we have a daycare chain, so I knew this industry well. So then I created an offer online to help other daycare owners. Now I worked hard on this offer for the whole of 2017, and I ended up selling only 5 spots in my offer, which brought in $6,485. That's where that sum came from. So that was my very first year in business. Now, whilst I did this, I absolutely loved it. It didn't make anywhere near the amount of money that I needed, of course. I mean, just under 7K in an entire year, working pretty much around the clock, is a very small piece of change. But something did happen during that year. That year, I started to live stream. I think that was the year that live streaming became a thing. Everybody started to live stream, or rather some people started to live stream, but it wasn't as well known, and the algorithms were really good at the time. So that means that if you were live streaming, Facebook was like pushing your content to so many people. Those were the days. Now you have to pay for all of that goodness, but back then it was all organic. So I started to live stream for other daycare owners and just talking about some of the things that I was doing related to marketing, etc. And people started to share my live stream. Now, the more they shared my live stream, the more I obviously, accrued a much bigger audience, and, just new people started to join my live stream, and people would share. And I remember there was one person who shared and said, check out the queen of storytelling. I had no idea that's what I was doing back then, or rather that's what was working in my favor. So lots of people kept joining my live stream, and the more they commented, the more I realized that they weren't actually daycare owners. And I remember thinking, like, what do you want from me? I don't know what you do. I can't help you. And I remember it was my mom actually who, very supportive mom, and she would watch my live streams and she would say, Pam, what you are teaching these daycare owners, you can actually teach other entrepreneurs. And I remember thinking, no, it will never work for them. But my inbox was getting blown up by other people. So therefore, I started to teach other people, so coaches, and I created an offer for coaches. This offer was only $500. Now that was 2018. Now in 2018, I really focused on this new niche. I fell in love with that, the industry, coaching and entrepreneurship and everything. I had my $500 offer. I worked on it for the entire year, and guess how many sales I made? One. Oh my God. Only one sold. That was at the beginning of 2018. That was when I had the realization that, oh my goodness, I need this. I love this niche. It's a lucrative industry. Clearly, other people are making money and doing well. Why can't I? What's holding me back? Then at the end of 2018, fast forward to the end of 2018, I decided to try something different. I decided to try this offer via a live event. So I created my very first live event. The event cost me more than I made, and I sold two offers. One was my membership, so I created a membership, and I only had 10 people buy my membership, which was $49 a month at that time. So I was bringing in $490 now per month at that time, at the end of 2018, which is amazing, because thinking back, I remember my thought process back then was, if I had $490 coming in per month over the course of 12 months, it would be X amount of money, etc. It would be great. I can have other offers. But the truth is that wasn't the case, because when you have a membership, there is something called a churn rate, which means that as people are coming in, people are leaving the membership, and so you find yourself constantly in a circle trying to fill your membership, because people are moving on, because it's a membership, it's a monthly membership, right? So through the end of 2018 and all of 2019, I ran the membership and I sold a few offers here and there, etc. But the membership was sort of the main thing that I was selling. Then fast forward to 2020, where I decided to create something different. I thought to myself, let me create a series of low ticket offers, but I wanted to have them in a series. I wanted to have them in a sales funnel, in a sales system. I had never really done anything like this before, but I had invested in some coaching and learned about it, fell in love with the idea. I didn't think it would work. I had tried it before, it didn't work, but I thought, let me do it again. Let me put a series of offers and do it in a different way for this specific niche, for my specific industry, and see how it would go. That was when I was blown away. Within the space of 35 days, I was able to scale my low ticket offer from $7 to $65,000 in 35 days. My mind was blown, absolutely blown. It was blown to the point where I actually created a case study to show other people exactly what I did, how I did it, what were the price points, what I created, and why it worked. Because the moment I got the taste, it's like, I don't know if you know that saying, taste and see that the Lord is good. Woo! The moment I tasted and saw, I was like, wow, I needed to create a case study for this. And so I did. Now, I know that you guys are watching this on YouTube, so what we're going to do is we're going to put in some timestamps so that you can skip the case study if you don't want to watch it. But I've made a decision to insert that case study for you into this video, because I feel like I would be doing you a disservice if I talked about all of this and never actually showed you exactly how it was done. So let's dive into that case study right now. Welcome. It's your girl, Pam Obasa, and I have an incredible case study for you today. Oh my goodness. I have been waiting to record this case study for quite some time, and I played with, do I share it, do I not? But I made the decision to share it with you, because one of the biggest things that has allowed us to grow is giving. We give a lot through our videos, case studies. Why do I give so much? Because I want you to succeed. Now, this case study is all about how we created $120,000 in revenue over the course of one weekend, without running any paid ads to this offer, without running crazy webinars to this offer, without posting in Facebook groups, without being on social media, without getting on podcasts, without being on YouTube, without doing any of these other things that a lot of people do. And these other things are okay, and we do have them inside of our business, but it wasn't what we used to create this big, massive money goal. Fast forward to what I'm sharing with you today of $120,000 in one day, one weekend event. This is where it happened without doing all of the bells and whistles that most of us do in business. Now, I want to warn you that this case study is very, very in-depth. That means that I'm going to be showing you lots of things. I'm going to be showing you lots of numbers, and I'm actually going to show you the strategy. I'm not just going to stand here and talk. I promise you, I'm actually going to show you the strategy, but I want you to promise me one thing. The first thing that I want you to promise me is that you will not just be somebody who sits at the sideline and just watches on and walks on by. You've got to take what I'm sharing with you and be determined to implement. The one question that I want you to be asking as a result of watching this case study is, how do I implement this into my business? That is the question that I want you to be asking. Now, as you all know, 2020 has been a unique year, but 2020 hasn't been crazy for everybody. Well, it's been some level of crazy, but for some people, it has been detrimental, and I was one of those people. So back in March, as everybody is doing, what they are doing, and we are all living in a pandemic world, I was pretty hit. My husband got COVID, and I remember one day I was getting ready to actually run a masterclass, a training for some of our clients, and he calls me upstairs and he said, "Babe, I think I need an ambulance. I think I'm really struggling to breathe." And in all honesty, I thought that it was just nothing. I thought that the ambulance would come and they would say it's nothing. They might give him some oxygen and he would be fine. That didn't happen. The ambulance came. They took him away. And again, I thought, okay, yeah, he'll be there. He'll be in the hospital for a few hours and then he will be back home. Within a few hours, no kidding, I received a call from my husband and he says to me, it's not going well. They're going to put me to sleep. And just at the end of that conversation, as he hung up, I tried to call him back to just to pray with him, to ask him some questions, and just to speak to my husband, because in all honesty, I'm shitting myself right here. I'm scared for me, my children, and our family. If I lose my husband, what might happen with us, So I called him back and his phone didn't ring, and his phone didn't ring again for a long time because he had gone into a coma. So he was in the coma for quite some time. And then, of course, over here in London, we all went into lockdown, which just took the whole thing. I don't know if you've ever been under pressure. So it's not just being under pressure. Imagine that you were under pressure and then you had a bus, a double-decker bus, drive over you whilst you were under pressure. So you were ready to burst and something massively heavy just sits on you. That's how I felt. That's how my life was. And for a few months, it was like that because he was in a coma. And then later on, he came out of the coma, thank God, but we were still in lockdown. But he was still in hospital. And then when lockdown came down and I could then go ahead and see my husband, it was very difficult because the one thing that really changed for me was I had to go from, being someone who runs such, a brand that I have grown from scratch. I've worked really hard on my business to grow this brand. I had to go from being that person to not having any time, zero time to run my business. And so this was when I had to ask myself some serious questions, right? I had to look after my family, look after my husband who was in the hospital, look after myself, and I barely had time to grow the business. So I started to think, okay, Pam, so you've had this amazing win. You've got all these funnels, you've got all these systems, and you've got all of these things going. Where is the bottleneck in your business? Right? Where is the bottleneck? If you stepped out of the picture today, what would happen? And at that point, I realized that if I stepped out of the picture in my business, yes, my business would do okay, but okay wasn't good enough, right? I wanted it to do amazing, right? So I had to think to myself, if I stepped out of the picture, if I couldn't do my calls, for example, if I couldn't get on the call on consultations and speak to clients, if I couldn't coach my clients because I wasn't physically available, what happens? Well, to be honest with you, we would have some money coming in on autopilot, which was fine, but we wouldn't really have a business that would be sustainable long term. So why am I sharing this with you? Well, I'm sharing this with you because the case study for how we went to then create 120,000 in revenue over the course of a weekend, that came because I had to ask myself one question. That is, Pam, do you have excuses? Because you can have excuses or you can have money, but you can't have both, right? So that's the question that I'm asking you today. What are your excuses, right? Because you can have excuses or you can have money, but you cannot have both. So I want you to do what I did. I had to drop the excuses. I had to figure out what is the bottleneck in my business, which was me. I was the bottleneck in my business. And I started to figure out ways of scaling this business beyond myself. So I want to take you over to my board right now and show you exactly how we were able to move the business forward so that not only did we create $120,000 in one weekend, but it is something that we are able to replicate over and over and over and over again. Let's go to my board now. Hey, welcome back. So I've got my trusted sidekick over here and my assistants over here, and I want to map out very quickly how we were able to scale to 120K per month. Now, let's have a look. What I had to do was I had to rejig my entire system, right? Remember earlier I mentioned that I became the bottleneck in my own business. Why? Because they would get to the top, so people would get to the top, and I was the only one they could speak to, right? So if I wasn't available for consultations, or if I wasn't available because I was visiting my husband at the hospital, or I was looking after my kids, or whatever the case may be, I wouldn't have a business. Now that is not the right way to run a business. And if you are the bottleneck in your own business, then you have a problem. So let's have a look at what I had to do. Well, a lot of what I showed in the other case study still stands, but we've given it other terms. So the first stage we have, make sure that you can see this. The first stage we have is stage 1, right? Now I call stage 1 seed, okay? Stage 1 is called seed. Now what is the seed stage? Every business needs to have a seed. Right? Every business needs to have a seed. What is a seed? A seed is something that you're going to plant and it's going to grow. Without this seed, right? Without this, you don't really have a business. Now, the biggest problem that most online businesses have is that they depend so much on social media and they build their entire business on social media. I cannot tell you how many people have massive Instagram accounts and massive Facebook groups and massive audiences on YouTube, LinkedIn, or wherever, but they are not making any money because they do not have a seed. Now, what do I mean by seed? What I mean by seed is your email list, right? That is your seed. That is the one seed that nobody can take away from you. Right? So I have a lot of people who I work with who have massive audiences. I also work with people who have lost those audiences for whatever reason. Facebook tomorrow can shut you down. Instagram can swipe your account off the face of the internet planet, right? Internet planet. and nothing. You wouldn't have a business, and it's happened to me when I didn't have a seed, when I didn't have an email list. Now, how do you create an email list? You, of course, create a lead magnet or a lead generator, and you run traffic. Okay, so you run traffic. Now, what is traffic? Traffic is traffic. Where do you get it from? You get it from all of these social media platforms. So as you work hard to build your business and to use social media, the one goal you've got to have from social media is, how am I taking this audience that I have built? How am I sending them into my seed, right? Into my email list. So you obviously have Facebook, you have LinkedIn, you have Instagram, you have podcasts, PC podcast, you have podcasts. What else do you have? You have speaking in Facebook groups. So Facebook groups over there. You have obviously paid ads. There are so many ways. I could keep going with this list in terms of the many, many ways that you have to generate traffic. The crazy thing is that most businesses believe that their biggest problem is leads, it's traffic, but it isn't, because you have an ample amount of ways to generate it. The problem that most people are having is that they are not able to send these leads, right? Send people here into their email list. And without that, it's very, very difficult to grow, or rather, growing is more like turning on a slow dripping tap, right? You know those slow dripping taps where it's just like drip, 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 annoying. Am I right? Imagine having a shower under a slow dripping tap, right? Frustrating, right? That's how most businesses are run, and that's why they are not making any money. So stage 1 is your seed. You've got to nail your seed. Now, stage 2 is called grow. Grow. What is grow? In the growth stage, this is where you create your low ticket products. One of the biggest things that aggravates me about having a business online, and when I hear what other coaches are teaching, is that a lot of coaches are teaching that you should have a high ticket offer, which I'm going to show you in a moment. But what they're not teaching is how to fill that high ticket offer. It's all well and good creating an offer that's, 10K, 20K. See how easy it is for me to say? But yet it's not as easy to have somebody pay for that. The quickest way by far, right? The easiest and the fastest way that we have found to get somebody to pay for an offer that is high ticket is to have them go through the growth stage, which means that they are buying an offer that is low ticket. What is a low ticket offer? Anything really that is under $27. But I say anything, it's got to have some serious criteria, i.e. it's got to be something that people actually need. It solves a big problem. It's something that they can use every single day, and it's something that saves them time. If you can create something that fits in with those categories, I mean, there's a few more that really makes it a knockout product like we did with our products and that our clients are doing. There are some strict criteria that we take our clients through that helps them to ensure that their low ticket product is going to cause a hunger for their ideal clients, and that is where you want to be. Okay, that leads me to stage 3. So stage 3 is what I call automate. Automate, right? Stage 3 is automate. Now, in the automate stage, you are really automating your business. You are automating your lead generation, and you are automating the sale from your growth stage, that low ticket product that you have created. Now, a lot of people are afraid of automation or afraid of running ads, but I tell you something, if you want to have a business that runs like clockwork, you've got to use some automation, and you've got to figure out how to do it or get some support with doing that. And in fact, this is a huge part of how we help our clients, because once you begin to automate, guess what happens? This seed stage, it keeps growing, right? And this growth stage where you are actually selling products, that keeps happening whether you are at the school run picking up your children, or whether you are asleep, whether you're having dinner with your family. It doesn't matter what you are doing, your business keeps growing, and this is where a lot of the money actually happens. Automation. Once you have created your automation, stage 4 is what we call your fuel stage. This is fuel. Why do we call it fuel? Well, it's because you are now really ramping up everything that you have done, right? What a lot of people do is they invest a lot of money in Facebook ads, which is great. You need that for your fuel stage, right? They invest a lot of money in Facebook ads, but unfortunately, the reason why they fail is because they do not have any automation in place, and they don't have any low ticket products in the growth stage. So they have nothing in the growth stage. Not only that, their lead magnet is whack. It's rubbish, right? That means that if they didn't have any of these, what they're bringing in on their lead magnet only are freebie hunters. People who just want something for free, and those are not your ideal clients, because those are not the best type of people to work with. They're not the best type of people for you, right? So your fuel stage requires you to figure out, okay, now that I have the automation, what is the fuel that I need to ramp this right up? Well, what you need is paid traffic. Now, you might be wondering, but Pam, I've invested in Facebook ads and it's never worked. I've thrown in thousands in Facebook ads and it's never worked. Well, here's the crazy thing. When we first started using this strategy, we actually started investing in Facebook ads with only $8. That's right. The very, very first ad set that converted, we had invested only $8. Now, paid ads, yes. Right? It can be really difficult if you don't know what you're doing and if you don't have the right support. But if you have the right person teaching you what to do, what not to do, and holding you by the hand, this is where all of the profit comes in order to help you to generate revenue from all of these stages. Now, could you run your business, from stage 1 to 4? Oh, yes, you can. You can have a pretty lucrative business just running stage 1 to 4. But What if I told you that you could 10x this with stage 5 and 6? Well, that's exactly how we got to 120,000 in revenue over the course of a weekend. So let me show you what I mean. So in stage 5, we call this multiply. Multiply. What does it mean? Are we simply multiplying what we did in all of these stages? No, we're not, actually. What we have in stage 5 is we create what I call an exclusive product, an exclusive offer. Why is it an exclusive offer? Let me write that down. Exclusive offer. Why is it an exclusive offer? Well, it's not quite high ticket. It's certainly not low ticket. It's an exclusive offer because this offer is not sold via ads. It's not sold via webinars. You can't find it anywhere. It is exclusive. It is by invitation only. We found that exclusive offers like these, they can go from anywhere between 1,000 to 5,000, right? For an exclusive offer of this range. So you have this exclusive offer. What we found is that if you create an exclusive offer just like this, it gives you room for the final stage, which is stage 6, which we call harvest. Now, in the harvest stage, because of the exclusive offer, in stage 5, we are able to offer a super high ticket offer. Now, when I discovered this blew me away. Just these two, right? These two here, right? Absolutely blew me away. For as long as I have been growing my business, I have always imagined that a high ticket offer was something like 5K. And in fact, even when I got to the stage of charging, say, 3K for my services or 5K for my services, honestly, my lips would quiver. Like, my heart would be beating so hard because it felt like such a big number to me that it was like, oh my goodness, you mean somebody's going to pay you this? And I found it so difficult to generate that amount of money in my business. And now here I am talking about a super high ticket offer. So what is a super high ticket offer? Well, a super high ticket offer offers over $12,000. So in this stage, we actually have offers in this region: 12K, 21K, and 35K, $35,000. I remember the first time I thought about, could I possibly pull off an offer like this? It was, somebody who I was working with who said, write an offer that is beyond your wildest dreams. And I would write down 10K. Right? Because that was where my wildest dreams were. That was where my mindset was. But after I did a lot of mindset work and I realized my value to the market, I remembered that I am an absolute badass at making money and helping other people to make money. I thought to myself, test yourself, push yourself, Pam. Right? Let's put out a super high ticket offer and see what happens. So we did. Not only did we sell this offer, but we sold it over and over and over again. And we did it in one weekend through the exclusive offer. Because what we found is that those who invest in this exclusive offer, the majority of them are also going to invest in this super high ticket offer. In fact, to give you clear numbers, we had about 15 people who invested in this exclusive offer over the course of a weekend to work with us in a workshop over a weekend. Out of those 15 people, 10 of them put up their hand to talk to us about this exclusive high ticket offer. And out of those 10 people, 7 of them said yes. That's a 70% conversion, right? 70% conversion. You can't write a book about that, right? You can't even make that up. You can't write a book about this. Can you imagine getting 70% conversion on a super high ticket offer? Now, let me ask you this. Do you think that if my audience, my ideal clients, didn't go through a journey, right? Do you think that if they didn't go through a journey that I could possibly pull off a 12K offer, a 21K offer or a 35K offer? Do you think that that would be possible? No, it wouldn't, would it? It'd be very difficult, right? I might sell one or two, but I wouldn't sell 7. We wouldn't have a 70% conversion across board. It'll be very, very difficult. Now, I share all of that to share this with you. One of the biggest problems that I see in this industry, or the biggest mistake that I see a lot of entrepreneurs making, especially coaches, especially when they're first starting out, or if they're at that whole 1 year to 2 year mark where they get into frustration land, where nothing major is happening in their business, and that's a lot of people, by the way. I would say 90% of the industry. One of the biggest mistakes that I see that they're making is that they create a high ticket offer, not a super high ticket offer, sort of something in this range, in this multiply range, which for them is a high ticket offer. There's nothing wrong with it. But the problem is that there's no nurture, right? There's nothing for your audience, your ideal clients to walk through. It's like meeting, somebody on a date and proposing immediately and expecting to hear a yes. It's very difficult. No, you've got to build a relationship. You've got to go through courtship. You've got to, fall in love. You've got to do all of those crazy things that couples do that leads to them ending up at the altar, which then hopefully leads to having a marriage of bliss. You've got to do all of that. And the moment you start taking away the numbers and you start to really hone in on what is your value to the market and what is the market able to pay, and I promise you, it's probably 10 times what you think it is. But not only that, the moment you implement a system that's fail-proof, that works time and time and time again, as long as you have real expertise, it becomes absolutely easy to do crazy figures like the one we did and we do all the time, right? It becomes much easier to do that. So now you have 2 options, right? You've seen the strategy. You can either go away and try to build this for yourself, and that's totally fine. That is why I have been completely transparent in this case study. But what I would rather you do is I want you to hit the button below and I want you to schedule a call with my team. During this call, we want to get with you, not to sell anything to you, but really we want to audit your business. One of the key things I want to do for you on this call is we want to audit to have a look at your foundation. Right? What is that seed that you are putting out there? Where is your traffic coming from? What are the bottlenecks in your business? Remember I said that I was a bottleneck in my business and the various things that I didn't have in place were the bottlenecks in my business. So even though, yes, we were making a substantial amount of money, right, there was still a massive ceiling and I needed to break through that ceiling, but I couldn't have done that unless I actually audited my business. So my team have been trained to do the same thing for you. Now, normally this specific audit that we are offering you is actually $1,000 to schedule this call. However, I have sent this video to a specific group of people. And if you have landed on this page, then you are landing on a special page because when you click that button below, we have wiped off that investment of $1,000 and you can schedule this audit for free. Now, during this call, my team will get with you. We will look beneath the hood of your business and we will be sharing with you exactly where you are leaving money on the table and what you can do about it. It is an audit for you. Now, if we feel that you are a great fit for any of the programs that we run, we will share that with you. But to be honest with you, this audit is for you. So click the link below, schedule the next available time before those slots run out. Like I mentioned, this is a paid for audit normally. So click the link below and schedule your audit right now. And we look forward to truly helping you to scale your business exponentially. So you've seen the case study. That was when my life started to truly change. Now, when I published that case study, my inbox was blowing up. A lot of people wanted to learn, to find out exactly how I did it. They wanted some support. And so this gave birth to a new trajectory for me in my business. I was thinking, how do I help these people? How do I help them as a group? Before I was working more one-on-one, how do I scale my business without, losing more time? Or rather, how do I leverage my time in that space of time? Coincidentally, as life loves to throw you some curveballs, the moment you want to rise up, it likes to throw you a quick curveball, right? During 2020, when COVID hit, it hit really hard. My husband got COVID. In fact, we all had COVID actually, but my husband had it the worst, and he actually went into a coma. When he went into the coma, I literally, again, spiraled. I went to a very, very dark place emotionally. And, I had a few decisions to make. I have very young children. My husband was no longer around at that time. He was in a coma, and it was just me and the kids. And I remember thinking to myself, what do I do, number one? Right, I went through so many different options. Do I stop my business? What do I do? I couldn't do business the way I was doing it before. I couldn't show up like I was doing before. I couldn't live stream like I was doing before. I just needed a brand new business model. It was at that time that I made a decision to radicalize my business, to have a radical change. So I made two key decisions. One was I'm going to move into high ticket coaching. Why? Because, to be honest, my mindset was life is hitting me hard anyway. Well, why don't I just hit back, right? Just go for gold, go for whatever it is that I want. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But who knows tomorrow? I was in such a dark place that I just thought, Pam, do you know what? This is the time. Life is pushing against you. Push right back. Whatever it is that you thought you couldn't do, this is the time to try your best and to do that. And I'm really glad that I made that decision, because it helped me emotionally to just really focus on my business, and because I couldn't help what was happening with my husband. So I just literally focused, and I changed my business model into high ticket coaching. The second decision that I made was how I was going to sell this offer. So the other change that I made in my business was the sales mechanism. I love presentations. I love talking to people. I love being in front of the camera. I love being in person with people. I just love impacting people and seeing it happen on the spot. So I knew that the best way to really help people was to work with them via a workshop facility, but online. And so that's what I did. So I went ahead and created this workshop, and then I remember we did a trial of this workshop. We finished the workshop, and one of the questions that people kept asking was, but Pam, at the end of this workshop, how do we continue to work with you? I remember thinking, you paid to attend this workshop. You want more from me? And they kept saying, yes, how do we continue on coaching with you? Do you have a 6-month program, a year's program? Do you have something that was long-term that we could buy into? And I thought, wow, okay. I never knew that I even had that in me. So therefore, I went ahead and created an offer. I created a super high ticket offer above at 10K. I had different price points for it, and people started to buy. And it was from that workshop that we did our first 6 figures in 3 days within that workshop. And that was when, my goodness, when I tell you where we are in my business right now, I never imagined it. Never imagined this was possible. Absolutely blown away. And that's why when I create content like this, I create it because I'm truly blown away. And the crazy thing about it is that if I can do it, anybody can do it. Absolutely anybody can do it. So that was truly how I scaled my business to doing 6 figures per month. We launched that specific offer every 2 months. And within that, we do around, multiple 6 figures per launch, which brings us to 6 figures a month thereabouts, give or take. Now that's revenue. That's not all money in the bank. It doesn't come to my bank. It goes to the business, right? But it's revenue as well. It's not all profit. But still, to be able to bring that in as a revenue for the business that I have built with my own 2 hands by the grace of God, it makes me feel like there is truly nothing that is impossible if you put your mind to it. So I want to share some quick takeaways for you that I really want you to think about. If you are really thinking about scaling your business, or if you're just at the beginning of your journey, even, this will really help you. Takeaway number 1 is this: don't give up. People give up way too easily. Everything that I have shared with you, all of the case studies that I publish, I didn't try them the one time and it worked. No, I had tried them several times, and it took several iterations for it to work, and for it to work the way that it does, it took several attempts. But people give up too easily. They want to do something the one time, and if it doesn't go their way, they're upset. They give up. They quit on themselves, and they quit on their future and on their purpose. Don't be that person. Number 2, shut the back door. What does it mean? A lot of people have one foot in and one foot out on their business. Did you know that? Right? A lot of people are trying to run their business, but deep down they're like, oh, well, I could just go back to my job. I could just go back to doing what it it is that I was doing, or I could just go back to being a stay-at-home whatever, and there's nothing wrong with that. If that's truly what you want to do, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you plan to truly make a success of this and to have money that causes people's eyeballs to fall out of their face and roll on the floor because it is that good, you've got to shut the back door. I shut the back door years ago, right? There's nothing else for me. There's nowhere to go back to. So I had to make a success of this thing called business because, well, truly I had nothing else, right? So you've got to really shut the back door and be all in. I want you to type in the words all in the comments if you are all in on your journey. Number 3, you can probably imagine this. I wish I had created a sales system like I did much sooner, right? When we did that first 65K in 35 days, oh my goodness, like that is like mind-boggling amount of money in my eyes. Well, at least it was then. And then to move to doing 120K in 3 days, and then to do that over and over and over again. These aren't things that have happened the one time. These are things that is just the new normal in my business. I wish I had known what I know now. I wish I had known it much sooner. I wish I had created a sales system much sooner. So if you're at that point and you're thinking, Pam, what do I focus on? It's that. It's create your sales system. It is that. Number 4, I wish I had created a high ticket offer much sooner. Remember way back when I started with a $12.97 offer. Then I moved down to a $500 offer. Can you even imagine? When I say it, I'm just like, Pam, like really, you did that? Like seriously, it was absolutely crazy. Never in my wildest dreams did I know that people would pay me 20K to work with me, 30K to work with me, 50K to work with nobody. I couldn't even imagine that. But this is the thing, again, one of my favorite books, it says you have not because you ask not, right? You have not because you ask not. You are going to get what you ask for. So if your offer is really low ticket, guess what? You're going to get that back. But I dare you to create a high ticket offer over and beyond what you thought you could ever command. And you'll find that people will pay that. All you need to do is make sure you stack up, make sure you stack up your sales system in place. Number 5, I wish I had started running Facebook ads much sooner. I was really scared of running Facebook ads for ages. I just found it really daunting and I had lost some money. And so I didn't start running Facebook ads properly till a couple of years ago. Now I am an absolute master at running Facebook ads, only because I saw the impact on my business. Now I can put in 5K and take out 50K, take out 100K, etc. because of several offers. Of course, it doesn't happen just by itself. I work at it. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So I wish I had done that sooner. Number 6, don't be afraid to change your business model. One of the reasons why I recorded this is to really show you the amount of business models that I have done, that I have tried, right? In fact, all of them worked, but not all of them worked in the same way, right? Some of them I made, a very small amount of money, and others, were really, really lucrative. Not all business models are equal. So don't be afraid to change your business model. And that leads me to the final point, number 7, and that is to get into masterminds, get into coaching, work with people who are where you want to be, or who have been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, and just listen to what they say and follow what they say, right? Call it a day and just follow them, because it is by doing that you get to cut the trial and error, and you get to save yourself a ton of time. Look how long it took me, right? It didn't need to take that long, right? But it took that long because I didn't have the things that I'm sharing with you right now. So I hope that this has been of great value to you. I'm really, really excited about your future, right? Just as I am excited about mine. And I'm here for every step of the journey for you. I'm here to watch you fly. I'm excited for you. So comment below and let me know what was your biggest takeaway from this. And now I want you to jump into this video where I break down the 6-figure roadmap that I use. Let's dive in. I'll see you in that video.